Okay, we're on Elements of Reasoning, pages 73, letter E. The objective in this section is to get you to imply premises and conclusions so that you can logically, actually just reach a premises, so that you can logically reach a conclusion. Further in the book, you will be able to use equivalences later, but here you should concentrate on using the forms we've already used. So we have our instructions and we need to get started. We will work with the first three problems and I will try and enlighten you on the finer points of solving these and making inferences. So let's get started with number one. In number one, as you can see here, there we go, get my cursor over there. Number one, if the book is exciting, then it is well advertised, it will be a bestseller. Number two, the book is well advertised and it is exciting, the book will be a bestseller. The best way to do this, and remember we're supposed to use, find my cursor again, you're supposed to use E, A, and B, okay? E, A, B. So the best way for you to do this is to symbolize each part. Make sure that you are breaking the sentences up in such a way that you will make the most sense, and that you will be able to use commas as markers and by circling your indicators. So you're going to circle your indicator in number one, which is here, and mark my, I need to circle if, and then I can put parentheses around the book is exciting. That way I know that I'm breaking everything up. Again, then, there we go, it is well advertised, it will be a bestseller. And actually, with this one, since I have the then, again, even though I don't have a then here, I have to assume that there's a then there. Okay, it is well advertised. It can't be and it will be a bestseller. It has to be it will be a bestseller. Okay, it is well advertised. It will be a bestseller. And if you think back to your grammar, you remember that you had if-then statements, and in the first part, if it was a true conditional, it is, you use the present tense, and then the last part you use will, and that lets you know that you do have, in fact, a conditional sentence. So on the top then, I put if E, then, and then in parentheses, because they go together, if A, therefore B. In number two, the book is well advertised and it is exciting, so I'm going to put A, advertised, and E, exciting. And number three, the book will be a bestseller. After I have the sentence in the sentential form, then I need to get started in trying to see that I can get the premises to the conclusion. Remember in our forms on pages 62 and 67, we were able to see how we get if P, then Q, P, therefore Q. We need to see that logically and get from the premises to the conclusions. So we will have to use these forms. So you're going to want to look on page 62 and 67 to see. Some of you, it's very easy for you to see. So here we go. For now, we will only look at the premises and put our conclusions off to the side. So for number one, if E, therefore, then A, then B. Number two, A and E, I have to get to B, so I have to start to work with this one. And I can do two things here. I can break it up in number three, and I can say A, and I'm putting my B off to the side so that doesn't get in the way, because that's my conclusion. So I say A, and on 62 I have simplification, or on 67, I'm sorry. You have to look in your book, make sure I'm giving you the right pages. Number two, simplification. So I start with simplification because this way I can isolate and break apart number one. But I'm just going to go ahead because it's easier, and I'm going to give E for simplification because it's going to come in handy later. Number five, if A, then B, I get that from 1, right here, from 1, and 4 because E, so I take E, remember, if P, then Q, okay? And this, if P, then Q, this is if P, then Q. erase that. And mark that. If P, then Q. It doesn't matter that I have this whole thing going on. It just matters that this still is Q. If P, then Q. Okay? So I know that with modus ponens, here's my P that goes here. So then I get Q. Okay? Okay, so number 4, we get, or number 5, we got 1 and 4 modus ponens. Take a look at 1 and 4 and look on page 62. And number 6, I get B. How do I get B? Well, because I have A here, and it doesn't matter that it's above that. I can simply, I have if A then B, it doesn't matter where it is, doesn't matter if it's top or bottom. I still can get B because I have A. Remember, if P then Q. P, therefore Q. Okay? And the easy way to see that, if P, okay, so we get if P then Q, and that just takes over. Okay, so there we have number 1, all done for us. Okay, so let's take a look at number 2. If there's anything to the story of the matrix, then contemporary science is further advanced than we think. If contemporary science is further advanced than we think, then we could all be brains controlled by supercomputers. We could not all be brains controlled by supercomputers. There is nothing to the story of the matrix. Again, take your time at the beginning to circle your connectives and to put your letters up to make sure you have the sentential form. So if there is anything to the story of the matrix, my comma helps me out and lets me know. So I get M. Okay. Then, and I circle then, contemporary science is further advanced than we think, and that gives me M from the matrix. That if M, then C, because that's contemporary science. Number 2, if contemporary science, C, is further advanced than we think, then we could all be brains. Mark that. We could all be brains controlled by supercomputers. We could not all be brains controlled by supercomputers. Remember, I have a not here, so I have to pay attention to that. And there's my not. And B. In number 1, there, and finally, this should be number 4. I'm sorry, there's nothing to the story of the matrix. So that's not M. Change that to 4. Okay. So let's write out what we have in sentential form without the conclusion so that we know we're on the right track. If M then C, if C then B, and it's just everything we have up here. Not B, so we move not M over. We don't need that. And we can do this in this way. We can say if M then B, because I have a hypothetical syllogism. Remember, I just crossed those two out because in hypothetical syllogism, if M then C, if C then B, I can certainly get if M then B. Okay, and right away I look at that form on 64 to see that it matches. So I get if M then B, and from not B, since I have if M then B, I have not B, then from modus tollens from 3 and 4, 3 and 4, notice that those two, if not B, and I have to look for an example on page 64, 63, I believe, 63 or 64, and I look at that form and it matches perfectly. And so I know that that's what I need, but I'm looking here, 3 and 4, to make sure that I can get the modus tollens.